outside again. I came for the M's, I came for the win. Yeah, me and all my friends. It's a 4th century, man, we all going in. Big bro, I rock told. Better use what you got, get what you want. Swear to God, since that day, I've been cooking it back, trying to make this shit grow.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Beezy Show here in Los Angeles. We are at some dope studio situations. Very, very special guest today. Is actually someone that, me and the team have worked with, and, we have some time to sit down and chat. So, artist, songwriter, engineer.
Yes, sir.
This is the guy. He's doing a lot of big things. Please give it up for Reef LVL. What's going on,
What's going on, man?
How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. It's great to be here, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Bro, I was telling shout out Bstar. He's over here helping out. He's a producer chair today. So how we come to meet is Bstar. At least how I remember it. You could fill me in, but you guys working on a record?
Yeah, we actually met.
Or was it?
We met online, right? No, we met at NAMM.
Oh,
that's I just remember we met at NAMM.
Which NAMM was that?
I forget. It was a couple of years ago, 2022.
Okay,
something like that.
Yeah.
And we just talked for a little minute, and then we ended up linking up that way.
Dope.
And that was my other studio in the other one in Burbank.
Yes.
Yeah, I had that vibe going for a while. And
that was a nice vibe.
I met you guys at the same time. Well, then you guys both pulled up, and
then, got to work.
Yeah, then we got to work.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, because that was one session, right?
That was
or was one, 2 sessions?
It was a couple sessions. I think it was a couple. I think it was 2 sessions. Two sessions. So because I remember we pulled up a couple times, but I mean that's the thing too is like a lot of link ups happen in LA, and you're like, oh, pull up, and it's like, yeah, let's pull up. And sometimes it's like,
I actually think the first session we did the hook and then the verse. I forget.
Yeah.
But we ended up going crazy like the first.
Regardless, Childish was born.
Yeah, Childish was born.
That song is so dope. I remember you guys just working on it, and I got to see you as like an artist for the first time, and I'm like, that boy can sing.
Yeah.
That boy can sing.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, this is dope. And I mean, even you guys making that record, I was like, yo, this is one of the ones, like it was a special record. The production was fire. The way you guys were just, coming on it. And also I like to take small piece of credit on that one because I was there and I did mention a couple things. Bstar's laughing right now because he knows what I'm talking about. I might have added a couple things, so now I'm like in the mix. Like, yeah, I produce now. I'm in here in the studio. I help the boys out whenever they need some help. And
that was a dope record how that came together. And
then
went back and then did the second verse later and dropped it. It's actually my biggest song.
Yeah, bro.
It's actually our biggest song.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I know it's got crazy views. Yeah. I mean, and also I remember. So this, you guys, got the song, dropped it, and then there were talks about the video, and I was like, bro. And then B, he had linked up with his teammates. What I'm saying, some of the people he's working with in the film space. They came through with the red. They were like, bro, we're about to make a hole. And then once I remember like,
crazy day.
Bro, I remember once we saw.
There was a lot of stuff that went on that day.
Tell me a little bit more about that day because he's told me a little bit, but tell me so this is the making of Childish. The music video, with the Bstar single.
I just remember riding the bike up the hill.
Yes, I remember that part.
Got some dope shots of that.
Yeah,
and then we had this. We were on top of what's it called? Runyon Canyon.
Okay.
I think that's what it was. But all the flowers, it was perfect.
Bro, it looks amazing.
And then we got in trouble for being in the flowers.
Oh, that's right.
We had the dopest shot set up. Then we got in trouble.
They came through with the
I think it might have been Bstar's fault, but
it wasn't. You know what it is, bro?
This
guy is a guy who asked for permission later, bro.
No, but he's a visionary. He was trying to get the best shot, and
it was sick.
We went to get the pizza or something like that. We went to go down, and then we came back up, and then we had to switch locations. But it ended up being perfect. We ended up finding a different spot, and then we got some dope shots.
Yeah.
Some dope BTS.
I mean, for me, I remember just like watch because he got the clips, so he brought everything in, started dumping all the clips and the footage, and I'm like, bro, it looks hard, bro.
Yeah,
it looks so good. The shots look great. I mean, just like your guys' demeanor in the song, you guys like everything just came together so nice. The color looks flawless. I mean, it's just a clean video for such a clean song.
He took care of everything, and just like I just showed up and.
Yeah,
he had the ideas, and it was dope. It was
bro.
me.
Shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you.
The mastermind, man.
Nah, I mean, I know since then it was like, yo, cool, like, keep in touch and like, you know what I mean? Like, let's see what happens, moving forward. And
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, what I'm saying, you've worked on a lot of, records, you're in a, very prestigious studio, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So there's definitely some heavy hitters walking around. But you know what? I want to actually go more, back into like your, you know what I'm saying, your coming into music and
Yeah.
how it started, where you're from and like, how things got to where it got to right now musically for you.
Okay, so basically, so I guess for me it was Full Sail. Like I went to Full Sail. Like I wanted to learn like I didn't really know where to start because when I first like was interested in music, I wanted to be a producer, and so like just trying to learn like what the first steps were, I ended up going to Full Sail.
Yeah.
It kind of I needed like a structure.
Yeah.
So I went to Full Sail. I went to music production, and then I did recording arts, and then I met some. I had these guys in my class that were like they were using Pro Tools. They were going crazy.
Yeah.
And I stuck with them, learned a lot from them.
In audio school, I will say, because I went to audio school too, when you get those like few people in the class that are like, especially on Pro Tools, and they're like already whizzing it up, you're like, I'm gonna go hang over here.
Yeah,
these guys know what time it is.
Like I just knew, like I'm like, okay, these are the guys that.
Yeah.
And shout out to my boy Aleo, man. He came out here first, and I was still doing recording.
Yeah.
Like, recording arts. 'Cause I wanted to learn Pro Tools. When I came out here, I knew in order to survive in LA, I'm gonna have to work at a studio.
For sure.
I want to get my chops up.
For sure.
Start from the bottom as intern, work my way up. So I was really focused on Pro Tools. Got my cert, everything like that.
Yeah.
Called him like, yo, I'm about to go to LA. Like, do you have a studio for me?
Yeah.
Or like, where, what's going on over there? And he's like, I got, pull up. I got a studio you can work at. You know what I mean? Just pull up and we'll get you in.
Dope.
So I ended up packing everything in my car.
Wow.
Drove all the way from Florida all the way to California. That was crazy. That was scary. Like having everything in your car. Like I'm talking like all my everything in my car, and then like spend the night somewhere, and like it was crazy. I made it to LA, pulled up at the studio, and for like the first month or two, I was it was just a chill vibe. There's some sessions going on, and then Thug was here. And then Young Thug pulled up.
Wow.
And then it just started getting crazy after that.
Yeah.
And then kind of like, so I started off like as an intern. It was crazy. I started off as an intern, and Thug used to call me Dreads. But he'd be like, "Hey, Dreads." I had dreads and stuff. I didn't have a name.
Wow.
So I'm just a new intern. I'm driving around. I'm driving Thug in his Maybach.
Yeah.
Doing different things, and like just the entourage is here. I'm taking care of them and doing things, and eventually, I got my shot to record. So I'm trying to like break this down in my head.
Yeah, for sure.
So basically, we'd be up all night. We'd be here for days on end. And sometimes I'd be the only one up. Everyone would be passed out. I'd be the only one up. I'm just going hard. I've been up all night. And like I know people get up in the morning, they wanna go do this, they want to maybe get some food or whatever. But one day someone comes up and was like, yo, like you trying to record? I'm like, yo, I'm so tired. It's 7 a.m. I ended up recording. And I think it was actually in this room and the other room. I ended up recording from like 8 to like 2.
Wow.
And like doing that for the first time, the word got out like, yo, he could record.
Yeah, he could do it.
And that's kind of how I started getting going because like, word of mouth, especially in a studio like this, word of mouth travels fast. Huge. So I was just recording at the craziest hours. And I earned my stripes with that. And then I started working with some of the YSL artists.
Oh, dope.
Then I started working with Strick and T-Shine.
Nice.
And recording a lot with them. And just moving around different rooms. Then I recorded a little bit with Keed. Nice. And it just kept moving up. And then I got a chance to record Gunna. Wow. And then Thug. And then it just kept growing from there. And and as I built my confidence with the engineering and as I put my time into it, my ears, I just got more shots. And shout out to Baines because he's really the reason why I'm even here.
Big shout out to Baines.
Big shout out to
Baines. Just the whole network with him and, everyone that's around him and the team. It's like, bro, just straight up killers, bro. I mean, these dudes.
I've never seen anybody work like Baines.
Bro.
Like, he's probably the smartest guy I've ever met, I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, with this engineering, he just
He just knows
it's a different level
for sure.
I learned. I used to sit and watch him. Let me rewind back a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I used to sit in A room and watch him record Young Thug
Mm-hmm.
and like all the artists he was recording. I just used to sit in the chair, and A room was always the busiest room. So if you were sitting in that room, you're gonna have to, Baines is quick. He needs something. He needs it now. Like, you gotta go. Boom, boom, and you gotta, But I would always just sit and watch him record. So I learned the pace of recording. Because when I first started engineering, when I first started recording, you're hitting 3. You're hitting space bar or whatever.
Right.
And I'm seeing him, I'm like, he's going crazy. He's like, I'm like, what's dude hacking the computer? Like, he's going crazy. He was going crazy. He was cutting like vocals and moving them into different tracks. And like, it was a whole different thing for me.
They had a science already.
Yeah. Like Full Sail taught me like the basics of like how to run Pro Tools and how to record and like what to look out for. The ins and outs of the program.
Yeah, I'm sure. A lot of these schools, they teach you like the fundamentals. They'll teach you just the regular. How to shoot, how to pass the ball, how to Yeah. But the real stuff comes in when you're next to a guy like Baines, and then it's like this, and that's that's something that you just can't be taught. You know what I mean? You got to be in here to feel it.
And that's one thing I like. I'm very grateful to meet guys like Baines and JP, and I learned a lot just from watching them, and I shout out to Young Thug and all the artists that came through here. I got to learn like the Atlanta pace and like just the pace of like these rappers and then the rap world is a whole that's a whole nother thing. But
of course
I do more. I've been working with a lot of R&B artists now.
Nice.
It's a whole different world. It's kind of crazy. It's a whole different world. Like rappers tend to be like more like
quick.
You're more like a robot. So for me, it was like I didn't really talk much. I just put my head down and that
just worked.
Yeah, sometimes we'd be recording for hours and they'd be like, "Yo, what do you think about that?" And I'd be like, "Huh?" I started talking. I couldn't even like my voice would crack because like I didn't even talk the whole session.
For hours.
It was just a different.
For 8 hours, you didn't say a word.
Yeah, it was crazy. All the weed smoke everywhere. Sometimes you lit.
It's the environment. I hear it.
But it prepared me for like every other thing because I'm doing more R&B now and like it's different things. But as far as the speed, like this place, like. This place, I have a lot to thank.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out Crosby one time.
Yeah.
So going into like, from the rap to like now, R&B, like what are some of the, just what are some of the differences you see now where you're like, oh, wow, like, this is what I was in and now I'm here. Like, what are they now, asking on that side and that genre?
It's like, they're still doing the, they're still doing like the one bar. Like a lot of artists are still doing like the one bar at a time. Like they'll record the same bar over and over. You keep the last take, move to the first one. You just kind of build like that.
Okay.
But it's more like there's more comping. There's more like I'm a singer too, so there's more like meticulous. I'm not gonna say that because rap is like that too.
Yeah, exactly. Everything.
But I guess when you're singing, it's like you're comping more. You're kind of like worried about a little bit more details because you're singing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So just the details like that, and just like stacking.
Yeah.
Stacking was a big one for me.
Important.
Like I had to change a lot about my template just because of the stacks and like.
Yeah.
And just kind of a different pace.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, it's because that's one thing too. Is like when I, when we first linked up, like. You had that like R&B, like you were singing, so I'm like, damn, like, you're in this pocket, and to now be like working with artists that way, it's like it must be, I'm sure that it's always gonna be fast paced, but I'm sure there's like a little bit of comfort there because you're like, oh, I know what they're trying to get to, I know what they have to hit this note, a certain way, it has to go down this way. And if someone's going back and back and back trying to get this one note, it's like I totally understand why they're doing this.
Oh, you know what? You know what else too? Writers, like different writers will come in. The artists will work with the writers and and build from that. Where like I feel like rap tends to be just the artist.
Yeah,
it's like a lot of times it's you, the artist, and people in the back, whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're in like an R&B session or you're with the singer, it's like you kind of got to be more. You kind of got to pay attention to what's going on more. It's like different producers doing different things. The writers, and you might have. Writer come and do something real quick, or you kind of got to participate in the room a little bit more. It's just a different pace.
Yeah, and you're bringing so that makes sense. It's like you're bringing more people into the mix. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like it used to just be like maybe with like a rap vocal. It's like this, just do this, boom, 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 boom. When now it's like you can hit that note this way, and it's like, you know what, they should do it that way. It's like, oh yeah, they should do it. Okay, let's try this.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
you
saying?
got to take charge a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Is
They
I would
expect
assume
that.
you have to.
You can't just sit there and be
no,
you know.
No, and that's actually I'm gonna get into that because that's one thing that I've noticed. But and this is more for like, you know, taking charge, take command. You don't have an opinion. Like I've noticed, you know, in my time when I was making music, because I was doing a little bit of music back in the day before I even came to LA. I was an artist myself, and I was writing, I was doing, you know, my own thing. And the one thing that I always did say was that, you know, it was very like intermediate. It wasn't really, you know, I was, you know, I was releasing music, I was dropping music, dropping content, like I was doing my artist thing. But the one thing that I really do, you know, like wish, you know, that was like, ah, man, is to just have that like one producer that's like in the room with you that's like, do it this way, or, you know, that sounds good, let's bring it down here, and then over here let's come up, you know, like someone that's like directing you and guiding you and like teaching you, and like, you know what I'm saying, they have an opinion on like, that's not that good, we could do better, you know what I mean? Like, so that's the kind of stuff that like, you know, I see in producers where I'm like, that's like such a sick place to be, of like, you know, you're giving your opinion, but you're also like trying to move the session forward, you know what I mean? And I think that that's a skill that's like very learned, you know what I'm saying? Because again, in my early days, I work with people, I'm like, oh, dude, you know, this, and that, you know, it's like, I don't think you know what I'm going for right now, guy, you know what I mean? So it's a very confusing thing, but to have someone that's in the seat that's like, let's go, you know what I mean? Like, let's do it this way, it's commanding the session, love it. I've always loved that. It's
like having your like I like shout out to my boy Jay Sessions. Like he was one of the first people I worked with that was kind of like like he would help me pick my takes. Like he would hear things that I couldn't hear because, like, you know, when you're singing, like having, like you were saying, like having someone like a producer or like another writer in the session, that helped me a lot. Because having someone, because sometimes I'd be like, no, that wasn't it, and he'd be like, no, trust me, that was the take. And then I hear it and I hear like the nuances in it, or like maybe like it doesn't sound perfect. Because when I was doing the take, it didn't feel perfect, but he heard something. Right. So, you know, also, you might be overthinking a bar, and someone might be like, no, that was cool. Yeah. Or change one word, and that just helps you accelerate the song. That helps you move the you know, the pace a little bit better. Yeah, it's good to have your team. Yeah. Definitely when you're making music. And sometimes, you know, you make good stuff on your own too. True. But like I've learned, for me, it just feels better to have someone in the room. You think a little bit less sometimes. Yeah. So, I like what you're saying there, where you think a little less, because I know we were checking some stuff with Bstar the other day, and it's like, you know, he's trying to get back in it as well, trying to get the, you know, rev it up, and we're definitely gonna go into, you know, what you got going on and what's coming up, you know, and like, you know, same thing for him. It's like, you know, you could do it on your own, and there's definitely something there. And even when I was making music, I did it on my own, bro. I was just recording myself. I was in Pro Tools. I was like, you know, just go. You cooking up in Pro Tools? I was in Pro, because I went to SAE. Oh. I went to SAE. I was, so basically, I almost went there. Yeah. So actually, this reminds me, we're gonna go back. So SAE, that's where I went to school. I was in Miami. Cause so basically I was born here. How was that? I was born here, but I moved to Florida when I was a kid. My parents moved to Florida. I grew up there most of my life. And then when I was there, left high school, whatever, you know, started getting into music, and then I went to SAE. That's where I met Nico Hamoy. That's my guy. He actually just did the last podcast with me at NAMM, the one I just dropped. But met him, you know what I'm saying? We reconnected. He worked for like Dave Pensado and like, you know, worked under that whole situation. So insane. That's incredible. Insane. But actually getting back to you in Full Sail, I actually was just on the phone with somebody that actually was speaking about you, and I was like, what? I totally forgot that was like a thing. So my boy Chino Alejandro. Oh yeah, that's my dude. That's my dude from a shout out to Chino, shout out to Alejandro, bro. Man. So basically, we were chatting because we were working on some stuff, but I had told him, he's like, "What's up with the podcast you're doing? Like, you're filming something?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna you know, film a Reef." He's like, "Oh man, bro," he's like, "You know I know him, right?" I'm like, wait, I'm like, really? I was like, I thought it was like a Bstar thing. He's like, no, man, I went to school with that fool. Yeah. He's like, in Atlanta. What? He's in Atlanta. He went up there. He went to Atlanta, and that's where I met him. Yeah. So when we were like in the trenches in the studios in Atlanta, like he was someone that. Studio there. So he has his own personal, but I'm saying where I met him was at Tree Sounds. Okay, yeah.
So Tree Sound was that one that was like tucked away in like Norcross somewhere in Atlanta. It's just some like in the cut, but it was like a crazy ass big ass studio. But I think it was Earth Gang and stuff did some stuff out there, like the J. Cole, all those guys. Like, they were out there doing some shit out there. That's like how I knew of it. But that's where I met him, and we just were, bro. When I tell you, bro, we were in the trenches, bro. I mean, god dang, bro. You already. I know you know. Yeah. You've definitely been in, just in the studios on that grind. Like,
but everyone has their own version of,
bro.
Everyone has their own version.
It's insane, bro. Like we gone through and So I just wanted to bring that up because I remember, he told me, he's like, yeah, I went to school with him, man. Like, doing our thing. I'm like, damn, it also shows you how small of a world this whole industry is.
Because my brother lives in Atlanta
he said
now.
Your brother was there too. Yeah.
And, they were talking and stuff.
Yeah.
And, he was like, he was just looking out.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, tell your brother hit me up. He can pull up to the studio.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, that's my bro. Again, shout out to Chino. That's my dog, man.
And that's one thing about this industry, especially when you go to school. I encourage anyone who. Like, for me, like, I'm from a very small town. I'm from Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
I'm from a town, it's Montgomery, but I guess the closest city would be Williamsport.
Okay.
That's where the Little League World Series is.
Yeah.
So that's where Eagles? I'm from. What's up?
Eagles?
I'm at Pittsburgh.
Oh, Pittsburgh
Steelers.
That's right. My bad.
That's my team.
My bad.
My whole family's Pittsburgh, but actually half my family is
Eagles fans,
because because I got family in Philly too.
Yeah.
So the Eagles. So I like Pennsylvania teams. So Pittsburgh,
for sure.
Eagles. Like this was a great year.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Great.
For sure.
Yeah. So I root for the Eagles this year. If Pittsburgh don't get it,
yeah,
it's
cool.
It's cool. As long as you're not the Ravens or
you
know what I mean.
Ravens,
the
they've
Bengals.
been putting it down, man. They gotta be careful for those guys. They've been doing their thing too. So they've been doing their thing. So
small town, and like I truly didn't know anyone. Like, some people come up in the industry, they know someone, they're connected. Like, you always find a backstory,
right?
And it is what it is,
right?
But for me, I had no idea where to start. I didn't really know anyone, so I was researching schools. I was about to come to California first for school, the Art Institute.
Oh yes,
and then it didn't work out for me. Like I had a feeling that I should maybe go. I don't know why. I just wasn't ready at the time.
Yeah.
So I did some more research and I found that Full Sail was good for me. But in general, I knew that school was for me.
Nice.
And like I was saying, I encourage anyone.
Yeah.
I forget what I was gonna say, but I encourage anyone just to go to a school if you don't know, because you're gonna meet people there. We're a community, and so you'll run into people like Baines. He went to Full Sail.
Yeah.
I just keep meeting Full Sail people, like they're kicking ass out here, and like Chino, like it's you just you make good connections out here, and that's the reason why I'm even here in the first place.
Right.
Is because I went to school, made some connections. And that networking stuff really is. You always hear network. I hate hearing it all the time because it seems oversimplified, but at the end
really
of the day,
is, bro.
That's how you climb up. That's how you
That's just how. I mean, at the end of the day, too, it's like that is one of the important things to do. And in this, and I think it's in this field specifically. Audio and like film and networking is obviously huge, especially over here in LA. You know what I mean? Like it's just. It's so funny because like for me, bro, like back in the day, I used to be like always into the events. I'm like, yo, let's pull up. Let's go say I was very like out there. You know what I mean? Like really putting myself out and like, and I still am. I still do the same thing, but now I feel like it's just more like as you get involved in this industry, it's like, bro, let's just cook, bro. You know what I mean? Like, let's just go somewhere. Let's cook up. Let's do something like. That's cool, but like I just want to get to work. You know what I mean? Like it's just so it's hard. It's been actually weirdly harder for me to do it.
That's one thing I've
recently.
It's like I spent the first 4 years in LA, just in these walls.
Oh yeah,
and hoodied up because it's cold.
Yeah, walking
outside, 100 degrees outside, still hooded up. I'm thawing out, and like your eyes are burning. Feel like a vampire.
Yeah,
but sometimes I forget I'm in LA.
Oh, yeah.
You definitely got to go out. And that's what I'm working on this year. So I spent my first 4 years here just like locked in, which, it pays off, of course. But it's like now I'm realizing that, the work behind the scenes, I built a lot. But in order for me to get to the next step, I got to be outside more. And so that's what I'm doing this year. I'm trying to be out more, posting more.
Yes.
Just kind of like because you can get in your own world and your own head and just like I need to create. Yeah, but it's not doing anything on your hard drive. You got to put it out, and then when you put it out, it's not just another put it out. Now you got to like just meet people, show your face, like you get energy from that.
You got to push it. You got to push the records. That's a good segue to get into, because even for you, and I know obviously with the record with Bstar, like it was a lot of cool content made for Childish and like a lot of cool stuff. And fast forward now, you know what I'm saying, like what he's doing, what I've been doing with the podcast, it's like the content grind is like, I always bring it here because obviously we do content, but I always got to bring it here because it's like, it's true, man. It's we outside is not even just like you actually being outside. It's also being outside on like the gram. You know what I mean? Like being, exactly. being, online, posting. And I know, and I understand, like I talk to a lot of people, and it's like, I understand that like there's this, being, sticking to the art and not, I don't care about, I'm just gonna cook and create and be that guy. And it's
take the picture with your head down.
Yeah, bro. It's like everyone's trying to Kendrick the game. They're trying to just drop the album and then just disappear for 5 years. And it's just like, and I've had someone use that same example with the Kendrick, and I'm like, bro, you are not Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? You're not Kendrick. Kendrick. It took Kendrick so many years to be able to do that. Just to be able to like pop out with the album and then just be gone. You know what I mean?
And he also came up in the I'm not gonna say the old.
It wasn't like social media driven.
He came up in a different type of era, so it's like you can get away with that type of stuff.
Right.
Where like we're expected as artists and like just new like content creators,
right?
Just influencers in general, like we're expected to do a certain
for sure
to be show face a certain amount of time, whatever. To just be a little bit more outward. I guess.
For sure.
And that's hard because first of all, like you and Bstar, you guys are like, as far as people that I know, you guys haven't slowed down. Like, you guys keep going. And I kind of just started getting my wheels turning a little bit, and I'm like, yo, this is like, it's a lot.
I know.
And y'all are posting a lot more.
I know.
And I'm just like, and that's respect. It really is. And it's like, it's dope. And like you said about the being outside. If I didn't go outside and go to NAMM,
I
don't think I even wanted to go that year. I just went. And then I met y'all. And then we made a song. And then the song went crazy. And then I got, I just got some insight from Bstar. He was giving me some gems. You give me some gems. Now we're doing this.
For sure.
It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it builds.
Yeah. And that's the one thing too. I'm really glad you said that, because at the same time too, it's like, it is hard, and I hope that we can, kind of kickstart you, you know what I'm saying, and kind of get back in, especially from doing this, and like, because it's like, one thing about the pod that I want to do is like just highlight, you know what I mean, like people, that we've known, and just like artists that we know, and like, whoever it is that's in the space. I'm keeping it to music now because a lot of people I mess with are in the music space. But as soon as I get to know some more film people, and like, we'll get some film people on, some content people on, like, I'm just trying to take the podcast to like all these different places. But I do want to highlight some of the people that I'm like really excited to see like move in the industry. You know what I'm saying? Especially you, bro. Every time I see like a new post, I'm like,
thank you, bro.
Yes, we need more of this.
It feels
we
good.
Need more.
It does feel good. And like,
you're an amazing singer, bro. I mean, amazing artist. Like I'm telling you, just from like the Childish, and I'm sure you're already years past what we did last time. You know what I mean? But it's just amazing to see artists at that level, and like, give performances like that, and then be like, damn, bro, like, I was just in the studio with like someone that's really in here, bro. Like they're really doing this, bro. And they're really good.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
Like I listened to I just told Bstar I listened to it the other day.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, this track still, like, first of all, it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And it still holds the test of time. And like it's a couple years ago, but it sounds it's really good. Like I was impressed hearing it again.
Yeah.
Because I haven't heard it in a little while.
Yeah.
And it was just dope.
Yeah, like, bro. I'm excited. So if now that we're here, now that we're back, this year, right now, what are you, expecting to have, soon? Like, what are some things that you're getting ready for, excited for this year? Like, what are some of the things as an artist that you're gonna start giving the world?
Okay. So this year, like, I knew top of the year, like, all right.
Yeah.
Something feels different about this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I never felt more ready as far as like, I got stuff on my hard drive I haven't dropped. I got new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, So right now it's like I'm doing a lot of R&B right now, and I actually have
Yeah.
a song. I've been trying to drop a song, at least 2, 3 songs a month.
Nice.
That's what I've been on. Just trying to get stuff out.
Get it
because
going.
because I'm an artist, but I'm a writer as well.
Yes.
And you know, I'm an engineer, vocal producer. I kind of put those in the same category. So I want to let people know what I can do as well.
Sure.
Like, you know, I want to be what somebody say the other day. I want to be
versatile.
No, I want to be how can like not useful, but there's a different word for it. I want to be it starts with an A, I think. Asset or whatever. An asset or whatever.
Asset.
Something like that. But like I want to also be like in these rooms writing with other artists and stuff, because I enjoy that too. You know what I mean? So for me, like this year, it's just dropping music, getting the content, just getting more comfortable, not really paying attention to views and
none of that.
Not really. Like sometimes I want it, like it starts coming up, I want to get upset about the views because, you know, of course I want the world to hear. You know, I want to put the music out and everyone hear it. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But it's the grind, and I've been getting good feedback.
Nice.
And it's been making me feel different.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? Like just the energy you get from just, you know, putting things out, putting the music out.
Right.
You feel better especially when you walk in rooms.
Yeah.
And it's just the energy, the universe, like it does something when you start
you know what, and I will
putting out the music.
I will say, because when you say that, it's true, because like even we walk in and you're like, yo, this shit's been dope. You know, it's like the same thing, right? It's like, you know, you put in all this work, and like sometimes online, you know, it's like, you know, whatever, a couple of likes, whatever, comments, whatever, you know, the usual. But I think that if you can attack it, you know, and be more consistent, then it's like, you know, you go to this event or that event, and it's like, oh, this dude I haven't seen in like a year. It was like, oh, I just seen you do the podcast. Like, oh shit. So it's like, oh, okay, cool. So it's like consistency literally gets you in front of more faces and more familiar faces. So when you walk into rooms, it's like, bro, I saw that last thing. That was fire, bro. We need more of that. You know what I mean? Like they see you more. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what else, you know, you're gonna continue to drop records.
Yep.
And songwriting.
Yeah, so songwriting, like we got there's so many songs. Yeah. The songwriting game is tough. Yeah. You know, we sent records out to like a lot of like, you know, some big names, some big, you know, some A-list. We you know, we just shooting our shot. But it's tough. The gatekeeping is crazy in the music industry. But it is what it is. Yeah. And so we're just gonna keep shooting. We got a lot. I worked with like it was kind of like an in-house team. You know, Jay Sessions, Sonny, Tay, me. I don't want to miss anybody here. Yeah, well, but yeah. Anyway, we got the squad. We just been writing records. My boy Jesse. And we just been building, and so just you know, hopefully some big placements this year. And that'll give me access to different rooms. Yes, you know, and naturally, like when I get these rooms, like I grow as an artist too. Right. So right now I'm doing a lot of R&B. It's the R&B season time. Yeah, you know, for sure. January, February, March, and then I got some hard stuff. Yeah, coming up. I already got I got a lot of content for some of these videos. I've never been ahead before, so I'm really excited to share that. Yeah. And then I got records I've been holding for like a year, 2 years. Yes. And I feel like I gotta get that out.
Please drop them.
Because like,
please drop them.
It's like, it almost gives me anxiety having these records because it's like I don't want to miss that. You know what I mean? I don't want to get so far ahead that I miss that pocket of where I was. Yeah.
There's also a thing of a lot of we've been seeing too, like just, you know, and we go back and see the stories now, like from like last year. I think there was a couple stories, but it's like, bro, these are some of these records that are like finally popping are like records from like 3 years ago. Bro. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. Just dropping records and then just being consistent, and then like this one song that like you're not totally in love with, but it's a cool little bop, you know what I mean? But then it gets them to the one that you're like, this is the one that I want. And then it's like, that one is now coming up, and it's like, damn, bro. It's like, you just got to get them in there to just listen, you know what I'm saying? Catalog is important. I know you know this, but a lot of like stuff that I've been seeing recently as far as like how artists are getting more attention and more seen is just by dropping, bro. The more you drop, the more, you know, consistency, you know, the more the streams just like kind of come in, the more they, you know, you get seen basically in a way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and like I'm personally excited because I feel like I'm chipping away at it, and I don't like I got songs I want to like my last song I just dropped that For Granted that came out. I mean, I wrote that song like almost a year, like a month ago. So it's still kind of new because I put the second verse on it recently.
Okay, cool.
But I've been enjoying dropping songs that I just made too.
Nice.
Like I dropped 2 records this year that I just made. And
Please give us the titles. Please give us the titles so they can find
it. Breadwinner.
And
Fake Love.
Fake Love.
And that's exciting. And I have another song I'm dropping that I made this year too. So I'm enjoying that because it's a different energy when you just make the song and then you drop it versus I had this song 2-3 years ago. Because I have records from 2-3 years ago that I'm about to drop too.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
Wow.
So it's just like building strategy, like trying to like figure out how I'm gonna
get it all out.
Yeah,
that's
but I'm
sick,
excited because I'm chipping away at it, and I can't wait till I'm like completely caught up.
Yes.
Which I don't think that's ever gonna happen. But
yeah.
I'm starting to understand what artists like what they go through as far as like having songs for so long.
Oh yeah, bro. It's like, and also too, it's like, I was like working with this, one artist we're working with. Shout out Timothy Mack. He's the man. He's in like the rap, country space. He's from Atlanta as well, but with him, it's like, we're making these songs where, he's dropping stuff, and it's like stuff that, he was doing then to now is a lot different. But, there's, within that consistency of him dropping, you like get to know your sound, you get to like sculpt it. And also it changes too. That's one thing I think a lot of, like I've been seeing a little bit too, is like pivots.
It changes.
You're here 3 years ago, and then you're here, 3 years later, and it's like these pivots that you make as an artist to like find your sound.
Yeah, sonically and mentally though.
Yeah,
because there's songs that I've like I struggle with. I'm just like, I'm not really on that energy anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't want to. That's tough too.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like kind of guide people into that because I'm still dropping those songs.
Yeah.
But it's like I was on some other shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was a lot going on. The energy was crazy. I was feeding off the energy
at the time
of the studio and like what was going on around me.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I just I think a little bit different. A lot of things happened since then. You've
grown. You've made mistakes. You've gotten better. You know what I mean? You've grown on all this stuff. But it's like that's what I was saying too. Is to get back to the point with Tim is like, you have this growth, and sometimes it's like, I'm not there anymore. You know what I mean? I'm over here now. You know what I mean? Like I'm changing the sound, but it's almost like you had to like, go through all these things to finally get to the sound that you're at now, or whatever it is at the moment. And I think what I guess what I'm trying to say is like a long-winded point, but basically it's like, you just gotta live that life, and whatever life you're living at the time is what's gonna be like portrayed in the music. You know what I mean? So. But I will say again, like even with the old stuff, man, just bro, I already know where you're coming from, so you need to drop everything, bro. Everything you got, bro. Drop it, dude.
That's the plan, man.
We need to hear it, bro.
I said that in the beginning of the year. I said everything is getting dropped.
Yeah, bro, you gotta drop it.
Like I'm not waiting for it. I'm not waiting for this, waiting for that. And like you'll be surprised. Like, you'll be surprised who you inspire.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And like that actually. That's a good feeling too. It's more than just like, look what I can do or whatever, or like whatever. But it's like you also inspire people because, just whether it's family or friends, just whatever.
Right.
I've seen some people start doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So you just never know.
Yeah, bro. Inspiration. I mean, that, and if anything, kids, if anything in life as an artist, I mean, it really just comes down to, that love for the game. You know what I mean? Like,
but really, we trying to get.
We're also trying to get
to it. You know what I mean? We trying to get this shit going,
bro. And I see the hunger, and I'm excited for you this year, bro. I'm there's a lot going on this year, so I'm very excited for you. So I'm gonna switch a little bit. In this part of the pod, we're gonna do some questions.
Yeah.
So I like to, like I always say to a lot of the guests, like I like to provide value, to the fans, watching and listening, and so anything that I can ask, on their behalf, or just like from a personal perspective, or from your eyes and your point of view, I would love to give them some feedback. So we have some questions, you know what I mean? Get your answers on those, and then we're gonna kill those clips online, baby.
I'm ready.
Okay. So let's get a little more technical, okay? And again, we'll just, I'll ask you just whatever your vibe is on these. It'll just be a couple.
Okay.
So first one I got here is, what's the most common mistake you see new audio engineers make, and how could they avoid them in the studio?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say one of them that comes right off the top is you try to make the song yours. So you might have an idea of like, it's kind of like, for me, I don't know, maybe it's because I make music too, so maybe I just like have a different, I just feel it kind of out, like I feel it out, like, so maybe sometimes you might put too much reverb, or you might do an effect, or you might try to do this or whatever, and you're kind of not feeling out what the artist's intention is. So I I've been in sessions and watched other engineers, and they kind of like I don't know, maybe they're not paying attention enough, or maybe they're trying to do something, or they're trying to worry about what they're doing, and they're not kind of worrying about the vibe of the room. That's one. Another thing is, I was always told to show up to the session early. And I know that that's standard around any job.
Right.
But to me, it saved me so many times. Like one big mistake, one big thing, and it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter how far I go in my career. It's like, if I don't do it, it's gonna backfire.
For sure.
Like, immediately, almost.
For sure.
It's when you go to the studio, you set everything up, you plug everything in, you play the music, you play off of Spotify, you play off your computer, you get everything set up, you go to the mic, put the headphones on, you record, you hear it, you hear how everything sounds, how's your reverb sound. Maybe you'll find out that your auto-tune doesn't work. Maybe your subscription ran out. You're like, oh, okay. So it's things like that. Or maybe the cable's wrong, or maybe it's not the mic that they wanted, or maybe the headphones wrong, or something's not plugged in, or the speakers, whatever. So you get that figured out. Now you go back and you play the audio that you recorded. You have to play it, and it has to come out of the speakers.
Yeah.
You don't know how many times that saved me, because I'll record, I'll see the waveform in Pro Tools.
Yes.
I'll hit play, I don't hear nothing. It's happened so many times. Or I don't put the headphones on, so when the artist gets in there and he's ready to go, he's like, boom, boom. I don't hear myself, or I'm only hearing one side, or the reverb's too loud, or this is too loud, or it's crunchy, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One time I had an assistant go in there and do the mic check. Everything looked good on my end. And then when the artist came in, it was a big client. Artist came in, and it was crazy. Everything was out of whack. It's too loud, this. And now I had to slide back and adjust the compressor, and it messed me up. And then my headphones popped out. He's trying to talk to me. It's like, you know what I mean?
So everything all failed at once. Like, it just all came down on you at once.
Get there early.
For sure.
Make sure your Pro Tools works. Make sure your plugins work. Make sure the mic works, your headphones. That's how I learned.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what Baines told me, JP.
For sure.
And whenever I'm in a hurry, I get a little too cocky. I get in there and do my thing. It backfires.
Of course.
All the time.
Wow, bro. That's a good one. Please, everyone, keep new audio engineers. Don't let this happen to you. Yeah. Do not, bro, because these are mistakes. And listen, to be honest, bro, I'm gonna just put this on for a second. Those are honestly, those are also mistakes too, bro. That it's like day one, it's like have a good day, bro. Like, have a good day. There's a door. See you next time. Like, you will literally lose opportunity for some bullshit like that, bro. Especially some little shit with the headphones, or just little things like that. It's like, that's a big tip for up and coming engineers. It's like these little things, be on your P's and Q's. Like, you just gotta cover your bases. If you don't, and it's these little small things. Everyone's thinking big all the time. The little small things could just destroy your career in that second. It might not long term. Yeah, you know what I mean? But you'll make a mistake that you probably will never forget. Off something like that, bro.
Like, I haven't even talked about the template yet, and that's a whole different thing. But it's like, think about it like this. Like, think about just the energy that's communicated, like, even professionally, like, one, the professionalism. Yeah. So for me, I almost want the artist to not even know I'm there, even though they're gonna know, of course. But I want it to seem like I'm not. I want them to be able to close their eyes and record, and everything it's almost like there's no like weird stops. It's almost like just flows, and that just makes them comfortable. And like, if you start off and they're already annoyed, like, especially if you're new, like, man, my old engineer never did this. I wish they had the old template. Think about what's going on in their head, and then you're starting to sweat. So now now your heart's beating. You know what I mean? But if you start off, ooh, it's on fire. It's a different thing.
Yeah, we're getting to a good space. You know what I mean? Love that. Got another one for you here. Okay,
ask away.
Can you walk us through your typical workflow when mixing or recording a track from start to finish?
Okay. So I'll just do the recording first. So if I'm recording, so I'll just record. We basically record the vocals.
Yes.
Most of the time, I got to the point where I could record the vocals, and when the artist is done, most of the time I'm like 5 minutes from being done.
Okay.
So I'm already taking different parts because I used to watch JP do that. JP's goated, like him and Baines, they're crazy. So I remember I used to think I was like, I'm getting pretty good at this.
Yeah.
And I watched JP, going crazy, recording. He's doing like crazy things. I'm like, I gotta do that too. Damn.
Yeah.
So I started learning to do like different effects while they're recording.
Okay.
And like kind of building, and it also inspires them. So as they're recording, I might throw like a cool reverb effect. Okay. And they'd be like, I like that. That's dope. Or they might get excited. You know what I mean? So after I'm done recording the vocals, I got the effects, everything, balanced in the right place. I'll go through and do all my cuts and my fades. Yep. I'll try to make sure I get every fade as I'm recording. So when it's done, you don't have any weird pops and clicks and breaths and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then, I'll try to get the volumes right as fast as I can. Usually when I'm going, you usually got about 1 or 2 more times. If it's like a rapper, they usually go a little faster. You got about 1 or 2 times to play the song. Put your limiter on, get your levels right. And then you're pretty much, it's pretty much it for that. Yeah. And then as far as mixing goes, a big tip for me, which I don't do enough, most people know like mixing, you throw your vocals in and you kind of build it, I usually throw mine in a template. Okay. Sometimes I'll just start from scratch, depending on if I want to just like, maybe do something different here. Okay. But one thing I've been getting better with is when I start mixing, I'll put all the tracks in there. I'll go through, I'll mute the instrumental, go through the vocals, take all the breaths out first, do all the fades with no music. Just hear it, just hear all the, because you're gonna hear things you wouldn't normally hear. Maybe like sometimes you want to get right to it and vibe, and get the levels right. But nah, I watch Baines how he does it, and I kind of just go with, he's very successful at it. Yeah, kind of go what he does, get all the breaths and all the levels right, all the vocal automation. You might turn things up, clip gain, whatever. If I have stems, once I get the stems going and all that stuff, I don't really speak on stems too much because a lot of times, I hate to say this, but a lot of times I'll mix with the 2-track. Really? Yeah, a lot of times because I feel like with me personally, like because I record so much with the 2-track, I just kind of got good at doing that. But if you have a really bad 2-track, you're gonna need stems. There's just no way around it, and you're always gonna. Well, I'm not saying always, but more than likely you're gonna get a better mix with the stems. For sure. The tip for me when you're mixing would be make sure you take breaks. Yeah. Because I'll try to push myself. I'll get frustrated. I'm almost there. Right. I just have a little tweak, and I don't take enough breaks. Yeah. And I start going backwards.
You'll get used to it. Next thing you know, just get used to it. You miss things because you. Yeah. That's actually something that Nico said on the last pod that we just dropped from the Nam episode. That's actually a clip I'm gonna get out soon, but he talks about taking breaks. If it's like a 4-hour mix, he'll do like 30-minute in between the 4 hours, like 30-minute smoke break or something. Just go outside, catch some vibes, whatever. Come back, not even touch nothing, and just like listen. You know what I mean? And then from there, like, okay, we're getting back into it, and then you start to hear those little things that like, oh yeah, let me write this down. I'm gonna
fresh ears
for sure.
Plus, you're not so dialed in on one thing either. Yes, you take a step back. Yes, then your brain hears things like your ears hear things like from a different, point. Yeah, definitely take breaks. That's the biggest thing. Because one time I did a mix and I'm like, I put a timer down. I'm like, every 30 minutes I will take a break. And I was super disciplined with that. I learned that mixing is discipline. Yeah. It really is. As far as like your level, I used to mix so loud. I used to mix loud. I just wanted to feel it. I go by feeling more than anything. Yeah. But that gets you in trouble sometimes. Yeah. And you end up working twice as hard. Yeah. Especially when these guys, they can do mixes in, I'm talking like the highest level mix. They can do that in like 4-5 hours, maybe sometimes less. Maybe sometimes more because you might have different you might have different notes and different revisions or whatever. But I'm trying to think what else. That's pretty much my process for the most part. I don't really
just keep it basically in that area. Like that's what you focus on. That's what you make sure.
A-Bing. I do a lot of A-Bing. I use the A-B metric. I'm gonna mess that up, but the A-B metric plugin. It's like it's a plugin where you could you basically drop the wave file of the reference track because you should always have a reference when you mix. It's like it's It's very, very important.
Yes.
Because how are you supposed to know if your mix is better than the rough if you don't have anything to
Right.
compare it with? You can't just go in there and just freestyle it.
No.
I probably do that way too much. But
Yeah.
but that's why I have that plug-in. I drop
Right.
the wave and I just constantly A/B, maybe
Yes.
even every 10 minutes.
Wow.
It's that serious. It's that serious because you might be vibing to something, then you're like, oh wait,
it's a little.
The 808's hitting way harder on this than the rough, or or maybe the vocal was a little bit louder. Maybe it's too thin now. You could definitely hear the difference when you A/B 'em.
For sure. For sure.
Obviously, you got to A/B at the right level. You can't have one louder than the other.
You know, I think all in all, it's just like, you know, stay on top of your game. You know what I mean? Get in the gym, practice. Like, you know, these, you know, again, you know, what you're doing to prepare, what you're doing to complete things, the breaks, all that goes into like just a daily routine of like, this is what's going down today. You know what I mean? We all have to, you know, cover all the bases on that. So I love that. Okay, couple more. How do you balance creativity and technicality when making production decisions in a session?
So definitely having like a good template is that's the first thing that comes to mind, because now everything kind of sounds where it's supposed to sound. So you don't have to focus on like, because sometimes you gotta do some heavy lifting. I gotta get the vocals right first. Think about doing anything else.
For sure.
I gotta take a step back because I feel like I do things so automatic now. As far as like balancing creativity with technicalities, I don't know. That's a crazy question because I feel like it goes hand in hand.
It does. Almost. It does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure on one end it's like, you know, you're in a session and you're trying, you know, you hear something that the artist is doing. You're like, all right, cool. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, I'm gonna tell them like maybe do this or do that or go a certain direction. Yeah. But then, you know, technically it's like we should probably stay in like a pocket. You know what I mean? Let's not go too, you know, out there. Let's just try to stick to the tasks. And then let's see if something can be created, you know, through the creativity.
It's like if it's an artist that knows what they want, it's a little bit easier for me to. I kind of just feel it out, and like I might throw something on. I might throw a cool effect.
Right.
I'll watch them. I'll listen to them. If they don't say nothing, or I can feel like the vibe's off, I'll just mute it.
Yeah.
Or if they like it, I'll look. Because most of the time they're sitting right beside me.
Yeah.
I'll look and they'll be like, they'll look at me, be like this. I'll be like, all right, cool. And like we'll kind of do that in silence.
Right.
I guess practice really, because I remember when I first started engineering, I first started recording, I was so worried on certain things I would miss. I would like miss other things. Like I wouldn't even listen to lyrics.
Like
he'd be like, he'd be like, what'd I say? Or like, did you like that? I'd be like, what? I had to go back and play it because I'm so focused on technicality. I'm so focused on his levels and his tone. I'm focused on the reverb, the edits, the cut, the fades, the beat flow, this right. I know this is coming up. I messed up. I gotta fix that before he hears it. You know. But now it's like you do it so much, and now even if, like I said, if his artist knows what he wants, it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
I could kind of experiment a little bit more. But if his artist, like I had the other day, where they're not really sure,
right?
Sometimes they'll get caught up on something like a creativity thing. You'd be like, hey, listen, let's just keep what you have now, and let's keep going. Don't get stuck on this bar. I know the take's not perfect, but we'll come back. And a lot of times, you end up liking it.
Yeah.
Or they forget about it.
Yeah.
And it sounds good anyway. Or you just go back and fix it, and the song's done now.
Yeah.
Because you can get frustrated trying to be too creative in the middle of like the process of like trying to get something done.
Yes.
You know, like worried about one run might not be worth it to get stuck for 10 minutes.
You don't exactly, because then also too, it's like, you know, session, we got time frame here, whatever, and it's like you go down this path with these these little, and that's the thing, right? It's like you were saying with the R&B stuff, it's a little more meticulous, it's a little more, and it's like right there you like feel them, you're like, we do kind of have to hit this note a certain way, you know, we really can't move on until we like, you know. But there is still that balance of like, okay, well, technical versus creativity. Let's just try to bring it together. And like, I think what you just said was perfect. Is like, you know, it becomes a balance. Especially if there's an artist that knows what they want, it's an easy balance. But you know, obviously the ones that don't, you got to find that balance. Because then that is like, all right, let's just be technical, and then maybe we get some creativity out of this. Or maybe some days it's just technical, maybe some days it's just creativity. Yeah. Or maybe it's sometimes, which I'm sure doesn't happen a lot, but you get a literal even balance of both, and you're like, this shit is insane. We got technicality, and we got, you know what I mean, creativity, both going crazy. Love it. All right, cool. I have a couple more. That was a great one. I love that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Okay, this is a little more technical in this one. What are some of the best plugins or tools you swear by in your work, and why do you recommend them?
Man,
I knew this one was coming.
some of these guys are gonna hate me for this.
Oh, I know. You got to cause some controversy.
I dread this because I work with so many dope engineers and
this is not to one over the other or whatever plugin, but it's just it's how it's how you're feeling.
And like I always say it like this. Like there's things that there's things that I do that help me out a lot, and there's tools that I like. There's certain plugins that I could just turn on. I know exactly what it's gonna do to the vocal. Like it's crazy when you get to that point.
Yeah.
And so for me, I have a couple plugins that I use and I know there are better ones, but this is what I like. I love the I love all the Fab Filter stuff, of course. I like a lot of wave stuff.
Yeah.
Like a lot of my template is still waves because when I started engineering, I couldn't always bring my laptop all the time because it couldn't keep up sometimes. So I had to use different computers, different studios. So waves was always a go-to because everyone has waves. So I had a template that had waves and I had a template that had other things on it. Eventually I got a laptop. I can do everything now, whatever. I love the CLA 2A. I love that, the waves one.
Yeah.
It's a heavy hitter on mine. I love the Fab Filter multi-band. I love the the C4. I love some of the new dope like the God Particle, Soothe. I love using Soothe. I use almost every mix. Gold Clip.
Yes.
Love that. I love the SSLG comp for vocals. I love that. And then of course, you got your Valhalla for reverbs. You got your Echo Boys.
Yeah.
What else? I love the Doubler plugin.
Yeah.
It's good for ad-libs. It's even good for the vocal too sometimes. Just push it a little bit, give it a little bit of I'm just thinking.
Yeah, I'm sure. I know there's
I've been trying new
list.
plugins because I get bored sometimes.
Yeah,
I love the Mag 4. I love that. But yeah, there's so many plugins.
Yeah. And this one,
I always watch Baines pull up new plugins that haven't even come out. I'm just like, I got so much. I have so much to learn. I have so much to learn.
Every time I ask this question with an engineer, I'm always there. It always comes down to this of like, what else is there? It's like there's so many. Like we were talking to Bob Horn. Shout out Bob Horn. Love Bob Horn. And I asked him the same question. He's like, bro, we can have a whole series of podcasts just on plugins alone. Yeah. Like there's so many, because he said that on his because I think the question was more like top whatever plugins, however many, and he was just saying like there's basically which ones can't you live without.
Oh yeah, like I can't. Yeah, there's ones I cannot live without.
Yeah.
It's almost like I don't even know what to do.
Which ones can't you live without?
Like I said, the CLA 2A, I have to have that. I'm trying to find different compressors to use.
Yeah.
I love the F6 EQ, which a lot of people hate, but I love that plugin because I know how to use. Like I know what I'm listening for. I know what it does. I know what the cuts. I know how they sound. The Pro Q3.
Yeah.
I love that. What else can I? The regular de-esser, the Waves de-esser.
Wow,
I love that one. That one does a lot on my template too. And the SSLG comp, RVox. I can't live without RVox.
Yeah,
there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Because that's
once I found that.
Yeah, it's game over. And it's so funny.
Bro.
Again, every time I ask this question, you start thinking, and you're like, bro, there's just for sure, literally like 50 of these that I have to have no matter what. Doesn't matter. Get out of my session if you don't. I don't give a. I need these.
Yeah.
It's just so funny to like everyone's like answer to this question because it's like it's just this shit is endless, bro. I mean, because then again, like you're saying, new plugins come out. What's the next new thing? This is the next big thing, and then it comes out and it's not even that great. So people spend bread on it, and they're like,
"Why not buy this bullshit?" we all want to get better. So we find a new plugin, we add it.
Yeah.
If
it works, it works.
Because you get bored, and also you just want to push it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll get another template, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's kind of cool."
Yeah.
I'm really focused on ad libs right now. I'm trying to get my ad lib sauce up. I got some dope stuff, but like I really want to get to the point where like I know someone's like, I want this sound, I can do everything.
Yep. That's actually very saucy that you said that. I'm gonna ask that question too, because ad libs is like very important. You know, obviously as we know it, in a lot of these songs, like such an important piece to the the whole song. Is these little bursts of sound every so often, sometimes subtle, sometimes in your face. So ad libs is actually late. And actually, when I was recording music, that was like the one thing I love to do. I was like, let me get some damn ad. And once I was done with the verse and the hook, I'm like, set that ad lib track, brother.
Set the ad lib
track going,
you gotta
bro.
have the
Let's
sauce,
get this going. I want to do some sauciness on this thing here.
Man, don't sleep on the ad libs.
Yeah, for sure.
Like everyone, because there's so many songs that I didn't want to. And sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes you can get away with not having to.
Yeah.
But man, when you start adding them, do it right away.
Yeah.
Don't wait.
Just go for it.
Do it right away.
Yeah.
Because if you wait too long, you're gonna get used to hearing the song without them. But ad-libs, man, they could change the whole song. Sometimes I'm like, this hook's okay, and then I go into ad-libs, and I start going crazy.
Yeah, the hook is completely
like I'm going
different.
so crazy. Like I'm over here, the mic's over here, I'm over here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah,
like I'm that locked in.
Yeah.
I'm eyes closed, doing ad-libs.
Ad-libs is so much fun,
bro.
Dude. If there's one thing I do remember about it, I love that the most. That was great. All right. One last one. I know you got a lot going on. You got, things to do. I'm gonna get you out of here. So one last one.
Good.
Okay. And this is actually gonna be a little bit of like what we were speaking on earlier, but this is like an official nice cut question. What's the most important aspect of building a relationship with artists and musicians to ensure a successful collaboration?
I guess just handling business, like this song, like going in there and like just handling the job you're supposed to do. That is really the most important thing.
Yeah,
because if you could do that and it's like seamlessly, just handle business, and then there's gonna be a moment where you can actually sit down and talk.
Yeah,
with the artist, but there's nothing worse than like having a good conversation with a dope artist, especially one that's like you listen to on your Spotify. You're like, I'm here with them
every day,
you're talking to them, and then you take you on the job, like you it didn't quite go how you wanted it to, or maybe something happened, whatever, maybe it wasn't even in your control,
right?
But the most important thing is just go in there and, like I said, get there early and run through your cables and make sure everything works right with the mic, and then handle business.
Yeah.
And also don't just be a robot. You know what I mean? You could be a little bit brave. You could talk.
Yeah.
You're trying to contribute and help, but also like kind of know that balance, because you don't want to go in there thinking
read the room and
Another thing I would say is try to think ahead a little bit. Think about what the artist might need.
Yes.
Maybe you notice there's not enough water in here.
Yeah.
Maybe you notice that this, or maybe there's not enough chairs, like just little things like that. Like let them use your chair. Bring a chair and be like, yo, you need to sit down.
Yeah.
Like just make them feel comfortable. Think ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't be so focused on the computer that you forget to look around the room and be like, yo, you guys good? Everybody needs something.
You're almost in a way, it's like you are working, you are recording, you're doing a job, and you have to be very focused. But there also is this thing of like hosting. You're almost a host. It's like you guys are coming to the studio. Let's make sure everything looks good. We're good. You know what I mean? And I think that's a very, very important one, man. But damn, dude, this was nice.
It was dope.
This was good, dude. This was good.
This is my first time being on a
podcast.
Podcast, man.
Damn, bro. Episode 11. You already know.
That's what's up,
bro.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you so much for doing this. I'm just excited that we get to do this and put people on the camera that we care about and we want to see win. So. I appreciate you and your time and letting us, record here. Obviously, very grateful. I appreciate that.
Of course, man.
So just let the people know, where to find you, Instagram, YouTube, whatever the socials are. Let them know. Let them know how to find you on online.
You can find me. My name is Reef LVL. You can find me on Instagram, Reef LVL. You can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, everywhere. So
everywhere. And stay tuned for him this year, because we're gonna see a lot more. All right, from my guy Reef, we're gonna see a lot more. And again, dude, I appreciate you. And bro, I'm excited to see what you're doing this year, bro. Very excited.
Thank you, brother. And I also gotta get better with posting some stuff that I've been recording too, because I don't think I really talk. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
I think I definitely gotta let people know.
Step it up.
Because I've been very grateful to work with some dope artists.
Yeah.
And like I probably don't talk about it enough, but like that's definitely made me who I am too. And I learned a lot from just working with in those situations. I mean, you're sweating sometimes.
Yeah,
You're going, you know, you're just figuring it out, you know.
You're
and
in
the
it.
only way to learn in this industry and in anything is like you just got to go through the fire a little bit.
Yeah.
And as you go through it, and this is for everyone, like as you go through it in your engineering and like I remember days where I had to trace the microphone cable and like literally grab the cable and go under the desk and figure out where it's going because I didn't know like what was going on. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was going on, what was going wrong. And then, you know, you start seeing these little things. You start seeing these little, you know, maybe it's a software issue, maybe it's plug-in or whatever. And then, you know, it's always hard at first, but you start seeing those things come back.
Yep.
Like, oh, I've done this before. And then it gets easier.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
Put
the work in.
Yeah, you just got to put the work in.
Put the work in.
You can watch videos all day.
Yeah.
But you got to sit down on the chair and do it.
You're not going to know what this, you know, all this stuff, you know, tastes like until you try it on the plate. You know what I mean? And so you've been in a studio like this or, you know, I'm sure here we have obviously some of the biggest artists here coming to town and coming in this studio. It's like, you know, if you guys want to get there one day, you will, but understand that it's going to be a test. It's going to be a test of your heart for sure. So,
it's a good
dude,
one,
thank you so much, bro. I appreciate you for having us. And yes, as you guys know, as always, like, subscribe, comment. I need more engagement, please. So please comment. If you like it, comment. If you don't like it, I'll see you in the comments. And so, you know, I appreciate you guys for keep on watching. We're going to get a couple other ones filmed this month. We're going to get some new episodes going. So stay tuned, and we will see you on the next one. Peace out, guys. Peace.
Later, y'all.